Today, we are stepping into the wild science of social media, envy, and the very real, very physical changes that happen inside your brain every single time you scroll.
All right, to kick things off, let's do a little thought experiment. Just imagine for a second that you're walking into a vast, endless hall of mirrors.
But this is no ordinary funhouse. Nope. In this place, every single reflection you see staring back at you is, well, it's perfect. It's an idealized, flawless, perfectly curated version of reality. Everyone looks happier, more successful, like they have it all figured out. And the whole place, the lighting, the angles, everything, it's all been meticulously engineered with one, and only one, goal in mind: to keep you staring, to keep your attention totally and completely locked. Okay, so here's the twist. This hall of mirrors, it isn't some building you can visit. It's already with you. It is the social media feed sitting right there in your pocket. So what is this powerful force that keeps us glued? What's really at play here? Well, it all kicks off with a basic human instinct, one that technology has put on steroids. You gotta go way back to 1954 for this one. Long before anyone had even dreamed of the internet, a psychologist named Leon Festinger came up with something called social comparison theory. Basically, he said we are all hardwired with this deep, innate drive to figure out where we stand by looking at everybody else. Now, you fast forward to today, and wow, Festinger's idea has never been more relevant. This quote from a high school student just nails it, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that sinking feeling, that sense of inadequacy that researchers have a name for: compare and despair. And here's the critical thing you have to understand. Platforms like Instagram, they aren't showing you the full picture, not even close. They create what scientists call an upward comparison bias. We're not seeing people's messy everyday lives, we're just scrolling through an infinite parade of their greatest hits. And this constant comparison, it does more than just mess with our mood. It actually triggers a physiological stress response, spiking cortisol and putting our bodies into a constant low-grade state of fight or flight with every single scroll. Now, make no mistake, that feeling is not an accident. It is a direct result of how these platforms are designed. So let's pull back the curtain and see how these apps are literally engineered to hook us. This right here is so fascinating. On the surface, yeah, Instagram is a tool to connect with people. But under the hood, it runs on the exact same neurological principle as a Las Vegas slot machine, a variable reward system. The uncertainty of what you'll see next is what makes it so addictive. So it's not just like a slot machine. To your brain, it is one. And that system creates this incredibly powerful, super fast habit loop that gets burned into our brain's circuitry. It's just 3 steps. First, there's a cue, maybe a notification or just a feeling of boredom. That triggers the routine. You open the app and start scrolling. And then bam, the reward, an unpredictable little hit of the feel-good chemical dopamine. Ping, scroll, hit, over and over and over, wiring that compulsion deeper and deeper. Okay, but the consequences of this loop, they go way beyond just wasting a few hours. A really groundbreaking study is now showing that it can physically alter the very structure and function of a developing brain. So, what is actually happening inside an adolescent's brain when it's exposed to this constant digital feedback? A major 3-year study from the University of North Carolina and the NIH used fMRI brain scans to find out. And honestly, the results are pretty stunning. The researchers found major changes in 4 key brain regions. And these aren't minor areas we're talking about. This is the stuff that governs how we process emotion, what motivates us, what grabs our attention, and even our ability to control our own impulses. And this chart illustrates the incredible split they discovered. You can see on the left, teens who weren't habitually checking social media, their brains followed a pretty typical path. Their sensitivity to social feedback actually decreased over time as they matured. But look at the right. The habitual checkers, a completely different story. Their brains were on a totally different track, becoming more and more hypersensitive to social rewards and punishments over the years. As the lead researcher, Dr. Eva Telzer, said herself, these kids' brains are essentially being rewired to anticipate social feedback way more intensely. We're talking about a fundamental shift in their neural development. So, what's the real-world cost of living with a brain that's being rewired like this? What's the actual price we pay for being trapped in this digital hall of mirrors? Well, for starters, the sheer volume of information we're trying to process is just mind-boggling. One estimate suggests the average person scrolls through 300 feet of content every single day. That's like scrolling past the entire Statue of Liberty from the base all the way to the torch.
And this behavior has earned a nickname, zombie scrolling. Just mindlessly flicking through your feed out of pure habit. And these here are some of the big red flags when that habit starts to become a real problem. And you'll notice they look a lot like the signs for other behavioral addictions.
Okay, I know this all sounds pretty bleak, but here's the good news. The science also points us toward a way out of the Hall of Mirrors. Our brains have this amazing ability to change and adapt. It's called neuroplasticity, and we can absolutely use it to build a much healthier relationship with our technology. And this is the really cool part. Research from Duke University found a simple but powerful mental shift we can all make. Instead of getting stuck in social comparison, we can practice what they call social savoring, which is just the simple act of consciously feeling joy for someone else's success. It's a fascinating idea, and their study actually found that this one small change measurably boosted people's self-esteem. So based on all this research, here are 4 really practical things you can do to start reclaiming your own attention. First, just build awareness. Track your screen time. Second, set hard limits, like turning off those distracting notifications. Third, curate your feed. Be ruthless. Unfollow anyone who makes you feel bad. And finally, move from just scrolling to connecting. Try that social savoring thing. Leave a genuinely happy comment for someone. Because in the end, it all boils down to a conscious choice, one that we make dozens, maybe hundreds of times a day. So the real question this science leaves us with is this. The next time you unlock your phone and open that app, are you going to get trapped in the Hall of Mirrors, or are you going to choose real, genuine connection?